Disclaimer. The opinions expressed in this show are unfiltered and unrehearsed. Statements conveyed are personal and issued to the best of the ability and knowledge of the cast. They should not be taken as conclusive facts. Does This Offend You is not responsible for any mental, physical, or emotional damage sustained by its listeners. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to another episode of Does This Offend You? Today we talk about trivial morality. Milk or cereal first? Toilet paper, over or under? Where to put your shopping carts? And most importantly, we ask ourselves, can friends be useless? I can tell you after recording this podcast that I've certainly lost a few. All that and more. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.
What do I have to say to make some money? What do I have to say to make some money? No offense.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what I don't know. Any guys have anything interesting happen today?
Interesting happened today? No, but I do have a question for you.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Danny, do you drink protein powder?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Well then, this could get really weird. So I'm
Okay.
gonna have to frame this in a different way. When you eat cereal, do you put the milk in first or the cereal first?
Well, the cereal first, of course.
Why?
Because I, I, I don't really have a. I don't know. I don't have a reason. I just do it first. There's probably some logic behind it. You're putting them on the spot, and now I have to ask myself the very same question. Come back to me.
It's because the milk spreads through the cereal as you pour it on more or less evenly.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to make sure, like, first of all, is it a habit that you do it, or is this through trial and error you've just decided this is the better method?
I mean, I just did it one day and it stuck. Like, I don't really think about it.
Have you tried the opposite way?
I did it one time and it didn't feel right
Okay,
I don't
why
know.
didn't it feel right?
because I've been doing it one way my entire life, which is, yeah, I know. Metaphorically speaking, this could mean a lot of other things, but that's the way I've been doing that. And it's a very trivial matter, so that's the way I kept doing it. And yeah, something about pouring the milk over the cereal makes sense, especially since as the milk rises, it actually gives you total volume. If you do the milk first and then the cereal after, then you might actually have too much milk. You don't know that until you start pouring in the cereal. So the cereal goes first, I guess. I think that's the
Right.
easiest way to test the volume of the bowl and ratio,
Right.
milk to cereal. Yeah.
So I agree. If
Mm-hmm.
it's something I'm not really measuring, I feel like I'll just put the cereal in first, and then I'll put the more milk over it, and then like the milk is spreading, and then as everything rises, you can kind of tap the cereal down and get it all moist, and you have a pretty decent idea of how much milk you have, versus the other way around where you just put it in the bowl and then you add your cereal and it just kind of stacks up on top of the milk sometimes, and you have to like press it down or mix it or something, but you have a really shitty gauge for your milk to cereal ratio, right? So
I agree.
yeah. So like I figured, everything it'll apply the same way, but now when I mix my protein powder, I've noticed that I've had a lot more success if I have a little bit of water in the thing first, put the protein powder in with the water and like the mixing thing, and then after everything's in there, put the water on top and then shake it. I've noticed I've had much better mixes, it's less clumpy, and I wonder if there's a reason for that.
Interestingly enough, I did this recently with something like I got into like those powder drinks. You rip open the top. They come in little pouches like this. They're thin. I don't know.
Like Crystal Lights?
Yeah, like Crystal Light does it. And a lot of companies do it. Anyway, I like for a week or two I was really into that, and I have no idea why. I just think it's like I discovered them for the first time, but I really didn't. I don't know. Whatever. I went through a phase, and I I went through all the motions like you did with the protein powder. I was like, I put the powder in first because it is powder. It's the same thing. I don't need as much of it, but I put the powder in first, and then I put the water on top of it from the tap or whatever, and it would just like I assumed the water would like blast it and just it would dissolve with all the pressure from the water, but it didn't. It wasn't like perfect. And then I did the other method where I fill up the water all the way as much as I could, and I put the powder on top, and then hopefully it would just like disseminate as it went down the bottle. It would just like whatever, and that didn't really work either. It for some reason both resulted in like clumps. I'd have to shake it, and even then it wouldn't really be perfect. You'd have to wait for like water to do its job chemically and dissolve the powder over time, which is, I don't have the patience for that. Ultimately, what I found was that I filled the bottle halfway, put the powder in, and then quickly I'd add more water as the powder was dissolving in the half the water that's already in the bottle. So in a weird way, we kind of ended on the same, like you just have a little bit of water first and then the rest later.
Yeah, it ends up just mixing a lot better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you let it pile up, it forms a clump, and then when you add the water on top, it just kind of mixes it and brings it all up.
Yeah.
You still have to do a little bit of shaking, but it's a lot less clumpy towards the end, and it's a little bit more of a homogeneous solution towards the end.
Yeah.
Like, you ever experienced that, Vlad?
Sorry, I've not been paying attention to this conversation after you guys started talking about pouring the milk in the bowl and all that. I was just kind of like zoning out.
It's a stupid conversation, but stick with us.
Yeah.
It always starts stupid and then it turns into something else. But Vlad, you do milk first, or you do cereal first, right? Like the rest of like normal people, like just regular people.
Yeah, no, like I said, for me, like I got the part where you were saying that you're calculating the amount of milk that you need so it doesn't like over pour or whatever. For me, just more of like when I pour the milk afterwards, I try to make sure that the spread is even because you want to have like the cereal evenly dampened and all that stuff. You don't want to have like a dry spot or anything like that. I'm weird that way. This is something that bothers me. So
I just feel like there's some people that like chaos, so they'll put the milk in first and then cereal on top. And there's people that have a little bit more, methodic way of doing things, and they're the ones that'll put the cereal first and then milk on top. I feel like it's the same as people who replace the toilet paper backwards, which there is a backwards, and anybody who doesn't know that is, again, very
Danny.
pro chaos.
Yeah, Danny.
I don't think it matters, honestly.
We've had this argument with you before. The toilet paper goes over.
Was it an argument?
Under.
You saw it like under one time and you made a big fuss about it. Like I gave it shit.
Like it's over.
Like
it's
I
over.
give a literal or
It's
figurative
over!
shit
Stop arguing
about
with me.
how the toilet paper goes on the roll. It means nothing. I don't care.
Does it go over?
No,
or
it
under?
means everything. Unless you own a cat, it means everything.
So tell me
Does
the
it go-
difference then. Tell me why
Does it go
it has
over
to be
or
over.
under? There's a fucking patent that shows you how it's supposed to go. I can show you the patent. We can actually pull up on the screen right now.
Also, over is better because when it rolls over, there's actually space between your hand and the wall to rip a piece of toilet paper. If it's going the opposite way, the toilet paper is up against the wall. You have to pull it back, then rip it, then it pulls more, then it becomes a bitch, and you're just like, you know what? I wish some jackass replaced this properly.
Dude, to me, you sound like those black and white phases in those infomercials where like, there's gotta be a better way. Like, you don't know how to work a roll of toilet paper if it's against the wall. Are you that incompetent?
I know how to work a roll of toilet paper. There's just a much better way to go through about it. And one jackass that didn't feel it, like putting the effort to replace the toilet paper the right way made everyone's life just slightly more inconvenient.
Listen, if you're gonna ask me which way it's supposed to go and I have to pick a side, I'm gonna agree. Yeah, if it goes over, somehow it just makes it looks like the right way to me. But if you're telling me here that like if I don't do it that way, like it's just gonna upset the balance of your toilet life, I don't
upset the person who
I
came up
don't
with toilet paper.
Oh, I'm sorry, I upset you. Did I offend you, Vlad? The way the toilet paper sat, did it really make your life that much harder? I think it's it's weird how we open up with a trivial
It
issue
puckered
and
my
we got
asshole
even.
that much more. It puckered.
Danny, this is so important
okay?
that I agree with Vlad. This is how important it is.
Well, congratulations! You finally found something you all agree on. It
I
is.
thought we agreed
This
on the speeding lanes too. But
This is
that's
very
whatever.
important.
Okay, well, can you please do me a favor and actually like grab a roll of toilet paper and show me what you mean? Because I'm not grasping the concept. It really.
I will
like, it
literally
seems,
send you the picture of the patent that shows you're supposed to go.
Why show me? Why a picture, Vlad? Walk to the.
I'll
You're
be
the
right
closest
back.
person to the bathroom. Yeah, both of you guys are right next to a bathroom. Go grab something. Show the people what you mean.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Thank
Really?
you. It's so stupid.
All right,
Okay,
you ready?
Omid, take us to school. Yeah.
So, here is a roll of toilet paper. I check to see which way it rolls out. Now, I can be a sadistic motherfucker and replace it like this. So that way, when somebody wants toilet paper, they have to go up against the wall, pull it this way, and hopefully it doesn't prematurely tear because it's being pressed up against the end of the wall sometimes, and then it just rips and like, I wanted fucking 3 squares, not 2. Yeah, I'm
right.
wasteful sometimes. Big fucking deal. But now it's getting prematurely cut.
He's right.
Now, let's say I'm a normal human being that actually gives a shit about human society in one way or another. You put the toilet paper like this, you just do a simple pull like that, and then you can tear it, you know? You can just tear it. Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Everyone's life is easier. It is not that hard, Danny, but for some reason, your sociopathic mind just wants to watch the world burn, or maybe just Vlad's ass. Either way, I just feel like you could have a little bit more sympathy here.
Danny.
I'm having I'm having trouble with because what I feel like now we have to like talk about what toilet paper holders are, because you're saying this like it's like up against the wall, but like the one we have, it's still, no matter which way you put it on there, it's far enough away from the wall where you don't have to have like trouble snagging it or doing whatever. Like
Most toilet paper holders are cupped into the wall so that when you put the toilet paper in there, there is some space for it to roll around in. But if it's coming out this way and it's going to hit the ledge over here, it starts to get a little impeded. Versus over here, no impediment. No impediment.
Okay, so if you're talking about the ones
Impediment.
that go into the wall, like a concave unit, I can see your gripe. But like a lot of the ones I've seen,
if it hangs on a fucking hook, it's the same shit.
It's the same shit. You have to reach a little bit further than you normally would have to.
a little bit
How-
further, what, like a centimeter? Is that what,
No,
further means?
not a centimeter. Actually, about 5 inches. Okay.
What?
That is way
That
more
is-
than a centimeter.
That is absurd. I call bullshit. 5 inches. What kind of toilet paper are you using?
Here is a standard roll of toilet paper.
That's
This is
ridiculous.
about the length. We are talking about the difference between me reaching this far versus right here. Right here. You see that? You see that?
God.
This far right here. You see that? You see that, Danny?
That's not 5 inches. And even
Look,
if it
all
were,
I'm-
I think
You don't have to add the extra inconvenience. You could just make everyone's life easy, take the extra 2 seconds to put it the right way, and everybody saves that extra 2 seconds.
I feel like it doesn't matter which way it goes. Though you haven't sold me, because the payoff is your hand has to move an extra 2 inches over, but I don't feel like that. Like even if you accumulated the amount of time your entire life spent reaching the extra 2 inches or whatever, I feel like you'd probably end up with like 5 seconds by the time you're dead. Like there's nothing. It's so trivial. It doesn't make a difference.
Does it matter life and death wise or anything else? No. But is it just a decent thing to do as a human being? Yes. I think that is what should be the takeaway here. Not that there's an absolute right way, but there's a way where you can kind of be a good person without putting in much effort. It's kind of like the shopping cart theory. You guys know about this one? How you can really judge a person and their altruism by what they do with a shopping cart after they're done shopping?
I think we brought it up before.
You
but
mean
yeah,
like,
go ahead.
like
and
bring
reiterate.
it the cart to the corral or what?
Yeah, Vlad would know a lot about that.
There's so many different ways that you can handle a shopping cart. Like I'm sure you guys have seen some people just leave them right there once they're done. Wherever they left it, they just stand, put it, cool. There are some people that'll go out of their way to put it back in the corral, even though there's people whose job it is to go retrieve them. There's people that, like I do sometimes, is I will put it in the nearest like dirt patch where trees are usually placed or out of the way. Some people will actually take them all the way to the front of the store. That's just, again, psychotic in a way. But there's so many different ways that you can return shopping carts. And it doesn't really make a difference how you do it because someone's eventually going to clean it up anyway. But it just shows how much of a good person that you can be depending on how much you're willing to go out of your way to make someone else's life easier.
But you're not making now. I'm taking issue with. You said you put it on like a dirt path, whatever. You won't even take it back to the corral.
Yeah.
Dude, now you're the same piece of shit who would like put the toilet paper the other way, so to speak. In this analogy, you're the same person because you're adding anarchy to the situation that's not necessary. If you just put it back in the spot it's supposed to, the way it's supposed to go, the way it's supposed to be, according to you, right? This toilet paper, if you slip it on shopping carts, you bring it to the corral, so the employee doesn't have to go on a wild goose chase looking for a bunch of shopping carts all over the place. Also, you don't risk them like rolling into cars, which I just saw like 2 days ago.
So, with somebody who has to deal who's had to deal with all the carts and shit before, I tell people it's cool. Like, it's appreciative if people go out of their way to bring the carts back to the corral or to the front, whatever. That's cool. You're not a piece of shit. Awesome. But for the people, but let's say the corral's far away because sometimes they're just not built, conveniently. I get that.
Costco is a big fucking parking lot.
Yeah, just do like the bare minimum. There's curbs or sidewalks, wherever you want to put them, call them. Bring the cart up, pop the wheels over the curb or the little rise so it holds there, and leave it.
That's
Like,
what I
this
do.
way, it doesn't fucking ride into the fucking street, doesn't hit any cars, doesn't scratch any cars. That's all you really need. And yeah, there's car crew for that. They're being paid. Let them do their fucking job. Nothing wrong with it. Again, you're not being a piece of shit, just like leaving it. Don't be one of those assholes who tries to flip over the carts on the side and leave it that way. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to achieve with that, because it's more work to have to flip it back over. But yeah, I mean,
So, moral of the story here, Danny tried to make me look like a piece of shit, and
No.
it ended up backfiring.
No, we're not done yet. There's no backfire because both of you are complaining about like the minimal effort it takes for the toilet paper to be flipped one way or the other.
I
But
just
you'll-
don't get why you have to put it underneath. Like, you can just put it over, make
I
your
don't
life
get why
easier,
you'd have to go
convenient.
out of your way to go collect carts if they're not in the shopping corral. Why do you not take issue with the toilet paper, but not you personally having to go out of your way to go collect carts? If they're in one place, it's much easier for you. It's much easier for everybody else involved.
You don't. I'm
But
not
the
saying
toilet
to bring it
paper's
to
the
corral.
issue. That's the point, though. You bring it to the corral where they're all in one place and they're organized so that the employee can go out, just grab them, put them back.
Because
where they
Vlad
belong.
isn't being paid to deal with your shit when it comes to toilet paper. He's being paid to collect those shopping carts because they expect people to be somewhat inconsiderate. But you, sir, you live with Vlad. You should care a little bit more about his butthole hygiene, and yet you still decide to make his life slightly harder.
So money is directly implicated with morality. Is that what you're saying? Like because if Vlad was paid to like he's a janitor, right? If Vlad had to go, would it be any different if a janitor had to go through and flip all the toilet papers to make your lives easier?
If it was a standard for the business, yes, it would be significant, because let's say the hotel wants you to do things a certain type of way. It's your job. That's what the rules are. That's what you're being paid for. Do your fucking job.
Yeah,
I
but
think a decent janitor in general, which most public restrooms actually have them flip the right way. They flip the toilet paper so it goes over. They just all do it because they're decent human beings and they know how customer service works.
We love you, Danny, but you just gotta, work on this little aspect of your buttholeness. Make sure you put it the proper patented way.
all right. Next time I'm at Costco, I'm gonna throw my fucking shopping cart in the middle of El Camino so you can go grab it. It's all right. You're getting paid.
I don't
though.
work out. I don't care. I don't work out there. You're gonna make the other fucking car crew members have to bust their ass, but that's fine.
But it's fine. Good. So we're all in agreement.
They're being paid.
As
but
long as
if
someone's
you-
being paid, it's totally fine to be a dick.
If you
That's
don't
what
want
you're
to be
saying.
if you don't want to be a total dick, you can bring it over to the corral. That will make you not a piece of shit. But at least, as I tell people, just put it over a fucking curb so so it holds in place, doesn't roll out, doesn't have to make the car crew chase them anywhere. It stays.
And the
put.
next person that parks there has like a cart right there ready to go.
I mean, yeah, just try to park it so it doesn't ding their car. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep it out of the way. I'll say I do that much. I'm not that much. I try my best to make it not inconvenient.
Well, that's the important part, Danny.
No, I'm not the dick here. You guys are flip flopping. Like the consistency between the arguments.
What am I inconsistent on?
Because
What?
you think the toilet paper is you have no problems with the toilet, like with the shopping carts not being where they're supposed to be, but the toilet paper being the wrong way is it's complete chaos. Like fuck me for if it goes the other direction.
It's
why do you care? Like you care so much about this A or B
it's
scenario.
about being mindful when doing a
So
mindless task.
Put it back in the shopping in the corral.
So
Why
why
are you in the middle?
Replace the toilet paper so that it rolls over. That way, everyone can be slightly happier. I'm not gonna okay, fuck it. I'm not gonna say happier. Everybody can be slightly less peeved.
So put the cart. If you're gonna do one way like correctly, you gotta do it the other way too. I don't want to see you leave a bathroom putting the self-righteously putting the toilet paper on over and then walk off to the Costco parking lot and just throw the cart somewhere.
Look,
you got to do both. You got to
I don't throw the cart somewhere. I throw it somewhere safe and out of the way and easy. There's people that just straight up leave them in the middle of the street, and that's a dick move. There's people that leave them, as Vlad said, upside down somewhere random. There's people that do a bunch of fucked up shit. The way you replace the toilet paper is the equivalent of, okay, I put my shit in the car, I can back out, I'm just going to leave it right here in the middle of the street, I'm going to back out and leave. Now, I can tell you don't actually do that with your shopping cart, Danny, because hopefully you're only defending yourself so hard because you don't do that. But the toilet paper is the same deal, because now you're fucking with someone's temporary sanctuary, okay? Toilet time is the closest thing to me time someone gets that cannot be disturbed. And you taint it with your replacing of the toilet paper backwards.
And it disrespects God.
I genuinely think this is the most terroristic thing you do, Danny. Of all the things you do, replacing the toilet paper backwards is equivalent to being a terrorist.
It offends God.
So that's what puts me on the NSA watch list, the toilet paper. Well, I'm glad to know.
It doesn't help at all.
Hey, it's not your pigment. That's all that matters.
Yeah. It's just your pig behavior.
I assume after they release this episode, I'm going to jump at least 10 spots up on the watch list. Okay, great. So this has been a nice little trip down this innocuous moral subjugation. Can we talk? Okay. If we're gonna go down this route,
I have a different topic to ask you guys regarding.
Fine, yes,
afterwards.
please take us away from this bullshit.
So I don't know how you guys how this will come off for you, but what are your thoughts on useless friends? And when I say useless, I mean you ever heard that saying, if there's 4 idiots and you start hanging out with them, you become the 5th idiot?
Speaking of useless friends, you can always count on Vlad to bring us something morbid like this. So
it's not morbid, bitch. I'm asking you a serious question. Do you think that there's such a thing as useless friends? And if there is, do you think that it's right to kind of weave these people out of your lives and try to actually get people that kind of put you in the position where you push yourself more and hustle more and all that?
I think you need to define a useless friend.
Well, like I said, the concept of that saying where you have 4 idiots hanging out together, and if you start hanging out with them, you become the 5th. Basically, the people who don't really have any sort of drive in life, have no real plans, have no real visions, no dreams, no goals. They just kind of hang out, fuck around all day, and that's it.
Are they toxic? Do they drag you down with them?
I mean, I feel like overall, if you hang out with a certain group of people, you start to mimic their behavior. So yeah, probably.
But as long as it's not detrimental to your life, why would you cut them out? What if they're
well,
just fun?
That's the thing, is that you don't the argument there is that you don't particularly understand that their behavior might be affiliating, that your affiliation with these types of people might be hurting you or your image or your lifestyle, because you become so comfortable with it that you're.
So they're not useless, they're toxic.
I don't know if it's toxic, but I feel like toxic people are specifically the ones who are doing things on purpose to try to fuck your life up, versus some people just naturally, without even trying, really just aren't doing anything with, and it affects you that way.
The word isn't toxic; it's parasitic. It's define a parasite. A parasite is something that exists in you, or that you don't know is actually hurting you, but you don't acknowledge it.
I'd broaden that out. Parasite is just something that takes and never gives.
Okay, fine. Let's just do it like the rest of normal civilization. Just
does the parasite hurt you when it takes from you?
Yes, let's just go with the connotation that most people, when you call someone a parasite, are they like, oh, good, I'm just someone who exists and takes stuff.
Does it hurt you when they take from you though?
Yeah, I mean, parasites basically take life from the host, and they don't realize what's happening to them. They could be it could be hurting them. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
A bad friend could be or a bad group of friends could be a parasite to you. You don't realize it, and that's without them you could be doing a lot better.
Yeah. So for a parasite, it would be the relationship between two where it's negative for one and positive for the other. But it's a net negative for you, and they're a parasite to you.
So
Versus
you
like
guys,
synergistic where both benefit, or mutualistic where, again, one is benefiting or no harm is done. But parasitic is one is benefiting and the other one is being harmed.
so the
That'd be
question,
symbiotic if no one's being harmed in the exchange.
But it's mutualistic is another term for it.
Sure. Okay.
so I guess the question is, have you guys never had any friends that are just kind of useless, don't do anything in their lives, have no real
Plenty.
career?
Yeah, I run a podcast with them.
Plenty.
Suck my dick, bitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but I'm serious. Have you guys never had friends like that just kind of
Of course.
Plenty.
exist?
Plenty.
And
Here's the thing. I've removed the toxic friends from my life, but I don't call my friends useless. I mean, I might refer to them as more bummy than others because they don't do anything and but they're
But is-
also the ones that are most available to just hang out when I have nothing better to do.
But are those bums worth keeping around and having their effect of possibly having a negative effect on you?
Well, it depends on like everything. Like maybe when I feel like being a bum, hanging out with them only encourages me to be a bum. But I also know I'm not a bum because I do a lot and I just want to kind of mellow out. Sometimes the friends that are doing nothing are just down to have a good time, and I need that. It just depends on what the function of your friends are in your life, and I think Aristotle had like the three different types of friends. It's like one friend is more of like a transactional where they have something that you want, that you have something that they want, and it's more of like we share these things, but that's our entire relationship. There's people that have mutual interests in you, so they're the type of person that you go see Marvel movies with or go watch a sports game with. And then you have virtuous friends, or the ones that are just genuinely care about your success in life and want to see you rise the ranks. So I feel like there's different types of friends you can have. And then there's toxic people in your life that it's hard for you to let go because either you're desperate for friends or they what is it? You've had them for so long that it's hard to let go. But it's the toxic ones that you need to let go because they're the ones that are actively negatively affecting you, whether it be, they hurt your feelings or they do drag you down or they encourage you to make bad decisions. They don't actually promote your positive behavior and they encourage the ones where it's like, oh, instead of, getting
that's
a good night's
bums.
sleep.
But
Huh?
that's bum. But that essentially is
Can you
bums
stop?
in
Can
a
you
sense.
stop changing the definition of terms? I'm telling
not-
you what I'm saying a toxic person is. A bum for me is just someone that has nothing better to do.
But those are bums though.
They're not bums. Bums just don't have anything to do. Like, I'm saying there's a difference between these people. You're calling people useless. You're calling people bums. You're calling people toxic. We need to define these terms because if I'm going to call someone toxic and you're going to say, no, they're a bum, then we're not going to have a conversation because now we're just arguing about diction here.
But you're saying that these people who are toxic encourage you to have behaviors that aren't beneficial to you.
They
Do you
could be.
think-
I have friends that are toxic, but they're way more successful than I am. It's just that when they have free time, they encourage a lot more reckless behavior and they can fuck me over that way because they're not actually thinking of my well being. They're just thinking of this is the best way to have fun and I'm going to bring this person down with me. But they're not actually useless. They're not actually bums. That's why I don't want to use those terms. I feel like I've had shitty friends that are all not useless. They're just shitty people sometimes. They're toxic in my life. Toxic
So
is what I get rid of. Bum is fine.
I think throwing the word useless in front of friend is almost, you're creating like an oxymoron. It's like a contradiction because you wouldn't have a friend who's useless to you in respect to you because they're your friend. A useless person is different. So
Right, that's why I want to define
yeah.
the terms. If they're my friend, they're not useless at all.
In Vlad's defense, I think there are friends that you've had before that render themselves useless to you and the relationship over time. But you wouldn't be involved with them in the first place if you didn't see any sort of mutual understanding with each other, exchange, whatever, commonalities.
I'm
Right.
just speaking from experience of having people in my life who have been, as I would define it, from my own based experience of they're good people, like they're cool to hang out with and talk to, but at the same time they don't do anything. And for me at least, if I was to hang out with people who don't do anything all day or have no goals, no ambition, I'd probably start to kind of subconsciously mimic them. I'd be fine with sitting around doing nothing all day, maybe having hookah, maybe drinking, watching shows, just all day doing nothing. That to me is useless, and this doesn't mean that people are bad or toxic as Omid has described them. They are just by nature not very driven individuals. They're kind of just very
So
lax.
bums. Bums.
Yeah, bums. But like I said, at the
So,
same time, you can say they can be toxic to my well-being because their behavior starts to rub off on me, and I
right.
start to mimic their subconscious behavior myself, which is, I think, toxic.
So,
Okay.
I mean, you can go through the gambit and land on toxic from useless. I mean, again, they're useless to you because their lifestyles don't have to be aligned with yours. It's because they can be useless, sure. They can be detrimental, sure. But then then don't call them friends and don't associate with them if it's really like an issue. So why have them around in the first place? You can call them useless friends or just not be friends with them altogether. Like, how do they exist in your world? You know,
Right.
Because how do friends exist in the first place? You meet up, have some sort of fucking
right.
common
So
ground interest, and that's it.
that's what I
That's
said
usually
earlier.
what hits it off.
Yeah, so it's like over time they become useless too, because
Right.
people change over time. Like change is constant. Like I know for a fact there are people in my life who I became friends with very early on, and I'm still friends with them, and I just like we differ on so many aspects. So that's what happens when you grow up, when you grow and you change through time. Like some things you don't understand why you're friends in the first place. I get that.
I just feel like your friends, same as like any relationship that you have, should bring you positive aspects to your life in regards to growing. And if you don't have that kind of, if these people become essentially dead weight or kind of don't really push you to do anything, you're just kind of stuck in the same place because of these people not really bringing you any sort of actual positive push in life to the right direction, why have them? Why not find yourself friends who actually are doing good, like something with their
So,
lives,
yeah.
achieving something, and influencing you to go that extra mile?
I see what you mean. Um, Again, I've had friends that I would put in this term of being bums that don't really do anything. They're kind of useless. I kind of know my place with them and I accept their role in my life and I treat them as such. But I also, if I actually cared enough, would attempt to put it upon myself to kind of help them and influence them to be better. And sometimes you really start to notice when things aren't going to go anywhere. And that's when I started to decide, is this worth my effort? Now, I'm not saying their bad behavior has negatively affected me because I know who I am, I know what my goals are, and I pursue those goals, and I don't let them deter me from that. But if I also notice that again, it kind of hurt me every time I saw my friends make these stupid decisions, hurt themselves in some kind of way. And I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that said I told you so, but there's so many fucking times I want to say I told you so. And then that started to bother me. And then it got to a point where I guess they got either annoyed by me trying to be helpful, or I've also noticed that a lot of these bummy friends do tend to have kind of like a slight jealousy or a slight inferiority complex, and they let it out on you as the person that's doing something and they kind of eventually start to cut you out. That just made my life easier because I don't have to do anything. But I think that mostly helps 'cause I didn't let them take me down either, and I didn't partake in a lot of things that they were doing.
I'll tell you this. I had friends throughout my lives, and like specifically in high school, I had this one friend that I used to hang out with my group, and he lived in a not so great part of town. His house was literally like a trap house, um, really shitty neighborhood, ghetto as fuck type of shit. House was just in bad shape. Anyway, on one of his birthdays, because we used to hang out there. And one of his birthdays, me and the guys, we decided to, try to fix his at least his room up. Got some carpet in there, some furniture, just try to get some paint, everything, fix it up for him. But this
Oh
dude,
my
like, he didn't.
god. Sorry, I just remember this. I was at that guy's house one time. You took me there. It all just came flooding back. Sorry. This is blowing my mind right now. I can actually picture what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, yeah. Anyway, long story short, we fixed it, but like this dude didn't like after all that work that went into trying to get this place fixed up. Eventually went back to being shit, and we all worked. Me and most of my friends, yeah, we were dumb fucks still, but we worked. This guy didn't work, and it was always kind of like your dead weight that we're carrying around, having to kind of pay for shit like that. And not we don't want to be shitty friends, but at the same time, it's like whenever we brought up like, dude, like, have you considered getting a job and this and that, he'd get all fucking sensical about it, be like, oh, why are you guys pushing me on this, yada yada yada, and he get all fucking bitchy. And that to me is just like when I started to notice these sort of things, it's like, dude, we're trying to encourage you to do more. Yeah, you're trying to be that dead weight that hangs there. Why? And I don't know. I just feel like it's people like that. Like I feel like a bad person if I was to cut them off, but at the same time, you gotta, try to keep up with the rest of the pack if that makes sense. But my original question is, what if you're a part of a pack that's like him, just wanting to flow by in life and not really do anything?
So what if you did your best to keep your distance, and if they asked what's up, you just say, "Oh, I need some time to do some things," and if they want to force you in their life, you just express to them, "Look, I'm down. I just need you guys to be more ambitious."
I mean,
Because it sounds like you want friends that are more ambitious. Is that wrong?
I feel like that is essentially because that's why that saying goes. If you hang out with four idiots, you'll be the fifth one. Versus if you hang out with four successful people, you'll be the fifth successful one, type of thing. It's the it's the ambiance or environment that you put yourself in when you're around these types of people. And yeah, like I said, is my whole thing is for you guys. Do you think that keeping these people who aren't, running with the pack, who are just kind of dead weight essentially in a sense, are they worth keeping around?
Do you want these people out of your life? Like, do you genuinely not like them as human beings?
No, I think that your friends are good people because why would you be friends with them, right? Unless
Right.
you're absolutely
So
stupid.
why do you feel the need to cut them out if you know that you're a little bit more ambitious and you can push yourself? I mean, if you want to find more friends, there's nothing wrong with that, but based on previous podcasts, it doesn't sound like you're fond of making new friends
I'm
too
not.
much. Yeah. So it just sounds like more of a you problem where you kind of put yourself in a hole with these people that you trust wholeheartedly for some reason, but you also trust people that you can't really keep around because you know they're detrimental to your future. Because I agree with you, like to a certain extent, if you don't have that direction in your life and you're not working towards something, you can be encouraged to be lazier and not do anything. I've seen it happen multiple times. I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not going to talk about this kind of stuff again or talk bad about anybody. But what I will say is that I've noticed that um, for example, me, I went away for school, I met new friends, and all these people were ambitious. They became doctors, lawyers, engineers, very successful businessmen, everything. They pursued higher education, and I therefore pursued higher education. Versus, I know other people that mostly hung out with others that went straight to work, became very successful, they were making money, and when they tried to pursue higher education, it was hard to keep up because now everyone is spending all this money that you don't even have. I can say yet, but you just don't have that money, so it's hard for you to spend it at the moment. And you just feel like you're either holding everyone back or you have to overspend to keep up.
Yeah.
And that's again another hard thing to do. So that encourages you to go make money as soon as possible. Um, the thing is, I think when you get to a certain age of adulthood, it does become harder to make friends, but I think I would encourage people to make friends, especially ones that are more ambitious, but you don't have to cut people out. Just know where they stand in your life. You know where you stand in your life and treat them accordingly. If you have other goals and you want to pursue those goals, then do it, but you also have to have it in you to pursue those things. And you can't put the blame on other people, especially people who love you and I hope would want the best for you. If they don't want the best for you and they're being toxic, by all means, cut them out.
No, I agree with you. Like I said, I'm not a big believer of having many friends. I think that me personally, you guys don't have to agree with it. I think it's a very dangerous move for yourself because you friendship for me is a very like personal thing. It's a very like trusting aspect. We've gone over this before, like I said. And for you to let in a bunch of people into your life on that kind of level is it's not smart. It's dumb. And the reason was because the more people know about you, the more they get closer to you, the more they have things to use against you. You should have a small circle of friends, in my opinion. The ones that you trust, that you are, especially like best friend versus like really close inner circle people. You don't need to have a bunch of them. You can have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of people that you meet for business, parties, events, connections for hookups of some sort. That's one thing. You can have a whole entire fucking boatload of people that you know just by name and be like, hey, what's up? Walk by, yada yada. But then you have that close group of people, like actual friends. Like those
I
are it's
disagree.
no,
I disagree.
I mean that's fair. I was raised differently. We have different cultural aspects in that regard.
Yeah, because I mean, even now you're talking about your friends. So for you, cutting people out costs so much more than someone like me who has collected, I would say, a decent quantity of friends. Now, are all of them very close friends? Probably not. But I think it's more courageous to allow yourself to trust more people and get close to people because at the end of the day, you can't even make friends until you allow yourself to be vulnerable with other people. Now, are you actually sharing your deepest, darkest secrets? No, but you are sharing things that kind of convey a certain level of vulnerability, and it shows them that you trust them and they can trust you. Because friendships, relationships are a give and take, and I don't have to be best friends with everybody I meet, but I can at least be close enough. And let me tell you, I've had a lot of people in my life who I didn't consider them close friends, and push came to shove. I had close friends that, in one way or another, stabbed me in the back, and these people that were more satellite acquaintances actually turned out to be the true homies that I needed in my life at that moment. And I am very blessed to have taken that chance on these people. Now, does it happen all the time? No. Is it a majority of the people that I've realized? No. But when push came to shove or when the calling came, they stepped up. So I would personally encourage that you allow yourself to be a little bit more open because then that's how you're going to make more of these ambitious friends versus the people that you're probably going to be stuck with for the rest of your life. Again, it's going to cost you more to sacrifice a friendship than it would someone like me.
Which, I mean, like I said, I don't have many friends, and I don't really open that door too often, and I am very rigid in that regard. You, I mean, I don't. For me to, for anybody to say it'll cost me more to sacrifice a friend in my position versus yours, I don't look at people as pawns, and I kind of look at them as if I do let you into that position of inner circle type of like relationship where we're really close and we can, we've been through some shit for a long time and through thick and thin. That's a bold thing to survive. I don't for I can't just say that I would let some guy I met a few months back just be on that level. It's hard. Don't get me wrong, some people do walk into your life out of nowhere, complete strangers, and can become very close. They do
Right.
happen.
But
But
let's just, for the record, don't say that I compare people to pawns when you're the one telling me that I should drop friends that are quote unquote useless when I'm out here encouraging you to keep them.
I didn't say anything about doing it. I asked you guys, what do
Um,
you think is the
let's
proper?
just, yeah,
Yeah.
but don't accuse me of treating people like pawns
I'm not accusing you of
when
treating people like
when
pawns.
it feels like the flip right now. I'm
Okay.
trying to encourage you to make more friends and to allow more people to be in your life
I understand
because
that, and
that
that's fine. But
that's
I'm
how you
saying,
expand your social circle
and I
essentially.
understand that, but I'm saying that in response to your advice, as I said, I have a lot of acquaintances that I know, whether it's for business, whether it's for parties I can hit up and go see and all this stuff. They're fine. They're there. They're available. I have them. But I'm not gonna call them my friends because my friends are my friends. They're a very small circle. They're people that I see very constantly that I have trust in, and hopefully they have trust in me. There's a difference. If you're having a hard time or you're moving or some shit, you're not gonna not many people will come to your aid to fucking help you move your shit and go help your family. There's very few people who will do that for you. You have to understand that difference. Going out to drink at a bar with some folk that you know and having a good time, cool. That is your, again, acquaintance. You can fuck with them, you can not fuck with them. That's entirely on you. But the people who come in at that harsh time, that clutch moment that you really need somebody's help, those are the real ones. And
Okay.
there's not that
Okay,
many.
cool. Very nice definition of a friend. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but we will talk more about the meaning of friendship and useless friends after this commercial break, so stay tuned. Does This Offend You is absolutely, definitely, and undoubtedly brought to you by this 100% totally real sponsor.
This week's episode is brought to you by the pronunciation of this product. Now, reading that for face value, I don't know if the camera's picking it up right way, but I think if you read this, and I quote, if you read this phonetically, it'll read fagay, but, or maybe fag, or maybe phage. But let me just reassure you that this company has finally done us the justice of giving us the phonetic pronunciation of their product, and it is Faye. You see that? So now, whenever I tell people I'm going to the store to buy some faggy, I now know to pronounce it Faye, and they should know exactly what I'm talking about. And before you shit on me for buying this product, let me also give them a little shout out for being probably the most nutritious, protein packed, less fattening and sugar based Greek yogurt. And what's amazing is even though they taste like shit, you put some blueberries in there, some kiwis or something, and they taste freaking delicious, and they're still even more nutritious than they were beforehand. So go out and buy yourself some Faye.
So it's pronounced Fage, not Phage, right?
It's Faye.
Faye.
Like fa, like father.
Oh, I
and
see.
yay,
I see the. I
like-
see the
like
pronunciation there. Okay, I
Kanye.
see it. I see it. Okay.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Is that a Greek company?
That's a very interesting question, Danny.
Yeah.
Probably is.
Let me answer that by saying it's a Greek yogurt company,
Okay.
right? It's also based in Johnstown, New York. As you can see, there's a phone number and information and everything. I don't know if we're gonna get sued for sharing this information, but
It's right on the
publicized.
packaging. No,
It's right on the
yeah.
packaging.
Yeah.
Is it made by a Greek guy? I don't know. But what I can guarantee you is that it's kosher. Do you see that symbol over there?
Good job.
That's one kosher symbol. So God bless. And it's gluten free. Holy shit! It doesn't change anything for me, but it might for you.
I'd hope that yogurt is gluten free.
Magical.
The only reason I ask is because this actually gives me insight into like another like age-old question. Is it pronounced gyro, gyro, euro? Like it's another Greek
Gyro.
gyro.
It's gyro.
Okay, but by that same like I guess vocabulary or grammar, whatever you want to call it, enunciation. I would call it euro because the G is like a yay or a ye or whatever in faye.
But it's like it's spelled GYROH, so it's like gyro. You know?
Year.
I feel like gyro.
So you're saying
you're
it is?
right.
Is it ye? Yeah, or is it? I don't know. That's maybe
I
that's a
mean,
topic
we can
for-
also just like we can act like Kanye owns it, and we can call him Ye Rose.
Gyro. Yeah,
Ye Rose, which
Ye
makes
Rose.
sense.
fair enough.
Next week we have Kanye West on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
I
he'd love to be a
wish.
guest here.
He better give us free shoes. Not that I like his shoes that much, but I just like the image they portray to people who own them, which is I can spend a shit ton of money on a garbage quality shoe, but all you know is that I spent a lot of money on this garbage.
Yeah, it's all just a statement. It really has nothing to do with anything else.
God bless them, man.
So
for
just
being
after going back to the previous topic, just to end that conversation, you guys think that you shouldn't
we're
cut
not done.
people off.
You noticed I didn't
Oh,
say a single
okay.
word the entire fucking time you guys are going back and forth.
Okay,
I have
okay,
something
sorry.
I want to say. You're a terrible
Okay, go
friend
ahead.
and you're useless, and I'm cutting you out of my life. See how
Sounds
easy it
good.
is? Yeah. Okay, well, I wanted to say,
Sounds good.
but you guys were going back and forth. I don't think any of you guys really. I just kicked my camera. I don't think any of you guys really. I'm not going to speak for exactly what Omid said, but he didn't actually stop you from saying this. But your criteria for what makes a friend is extremely minimal, and I think elitist and very dangerous. This is how you end up alone, dude. You're thinking the whole time you guys are arguing, no one said like, why can't you just have a friend who is not ambitious, and that's fine too. Like all you want is someone who's going to be.
I encouraged that earlier.
Okay, so thank you for for confirming that. But Vlad, to your point, I don't think like who's ever heard the phrase like I have other friends or we have other friends. Everyone celebrates different groups of friends. Not all of my friends are as ambitious as I am, and it's been like the crux of my existence for a while now, dude. Because it's hard for me to find friends who are as ambitious as I am, who would sit down and have a podcast with me, let alone do anything creative. Because I'm a creative person and I need the outlet, but I don't really have a lot of people I can do that with. But to
So
say
why
that
not find them?
so I have a few of them, but to say that everyone else who does not meet that criteria is useless to me is a fallacy. I have a lot of friends who are just not creative and will never help me do anything to progress my life and further my existence. You know, so a lot of them just want to sit down, just have a beer, kick it, relax, watch a movie, or do a bunch of basically useless bullshit. I'll give you that. There are a lot of people who are just like kind of bumming around this earth with no ambition, no real. They don't know what they want to do with their lives. You know, but they have other qualities that agree with me and my personality. I have different pieces of my personality that I connect with other people. And they're not going to be ambitious, but there's a reason they are my friends, because they do understand some part of me at least. So to call someone useless just because they're not ambitious, I think that's wrong. I mean, I know that's your criteria, dude. And I'm just saying, like, it's a weird line of thinking, because friends can be so much more. We're only human beings at the end of the day. We have a lot of depth to us. You know, a lot of people want success. Some people just want to have a beer. And there's nothing wrong with either of those things.
Only reason why this was brought up is because I've talked to a few people who are successful in life, and they've been like, the people you surround yourself with define a lot about you and what you're going to do with yourself. And they're like, if you're smart, cut off the bad fruit, make the sacrifice.
Yeah, you're talking about like business moguls who basically just want to keep going, and like they don't want. I've heard this before.
Not just business moguls.
Fine.
I've had like, my point is that anybody that's been successful told me the people you surround yourself with will mold you in your future and what you decide to do, where you decide to go, how you decide to find yourself. And the reality is that the people who are the quote unquote useless, dead weight, whatever, they're the ones who tend to hinder you a lot. And the best advice from them is like, remove them. Don't need to have them. Find yourself people who actually will push you to do better, who will encourage you, inspire you to go above and beyond.
Okay, but then you're just talking about success.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You're talking about cutting out certain people, which I think is in a way a good idea, but I also don't like it, because I feel like, again, you can kind of reduce your interactions with them, but you also are trying to take advice from someone that is also encouraging you to make more ambitious friends? Or are you supposed to just pick your most ambitious friends and stick with them, even though, let's be real, they might be bums too?
I mean, I can probably tell you which one of my friends are actually ambitious and actually doing something versus the ones who just talk out of their ass all day.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I can also do that too, which, I mean, I want to bring this up too. When it comes to people that are bums or friends that are bums, I feel like you had a really good gauge of that throughout COVID and quarantine. I've noticed there's a big chunk of people that said, fuck it, I'm going to play video games and drink beer all day. And there's other people that took on projects, they learned something new, they worked out, they found ways to be active and creative. And if you want to find out who's a bum and who's not, look at the ones not only who during COVID didn't do anything, but then after everything was lifted, have adopted that lifestyle and kept it.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, honestly, it's a very good observation. And
that's cool and all, but it's no way to judge a person, dude. Your entire line of thinking is just based on success. Like, I want to be successful, so I have to surround myself by successful people. Does nobody around you offer you anything more than that? Like, it's only to make you better. Like, people can just support you without actually getting on board with your definition of success and ambition. For all, you know, maybe to me, you're like whatever, with all you've been doing, no matter how hard you're working, to me, maybe you just like, you suck. You're not ambitious enough. You're not doing it. I could easily just cut you out of my life because you're not ambitious, but it's not, you can't just take somebody for their ambition. There's so much more like you can get from people. I don't understand why your drive to succeed is going to directly affect the people around you and yourself.
Also, let's think about this realistically. If everybody thought the way you're talking about right now, how many of those ambitious people would bother being your friend?
I don't know. I have a few really ambitious people that I'm friends with. I don't know why they're friends with me. Good question.
God bless them. Right. So now they're your friends. They can tolerate you, even though you're probably less ambitious than they are. So why can't you tolerate people that are less ambitious than you? Are you some kind of bar that everybody else has to surpass?
I've talked to some of these friends who are very ambitious, and I'm like, why do you hang out with some of the people you hang out with, like me, for instance? And they're like, well, at least their response is, well, for me, they're like, yeah, you try to push yourself. You're always trying to do something or another, some sort of project. You're trying to always find some sort of way to make money, this and that. You don't come off as the person who just sits on his ass all day. And they're like, you show hustle, as they put it for me. And they're like, that's a good thing. They're like, eventually, with that hustle pays off, because as long as you keep pushing, you're gonna, it'll bring you something eventually at some point.
That's not true.
I mean,
That's a pipe dream. What I will say is, in life, I'd rather surround myself with people that work smarter, not harder. Because people who work hard, yeah, they might get somewhere eventually, but the people who work smarter are the ones that are actually going places
well,
because they streamline the process.
working smart
And
also
they're
requires you to work hard. You can't just sit on your ass and, you have to do things to get somewhere. Well, I'm not saying go and freaking break your back lifting boulders all day. I'm saying figure out a way to lift those boulders without having to physically do it yourself somehow. It's about the steps you take to find those avenues, which it requires work.
True.
You can't just
I
sit there
mean,
and say you're gonna be
So
able to just do it just by being smart. It doesn't work that way.
So let's take the NBA playoffs right now, where there is a player on the Warriors, Kevon Looney, who is probably not the most skilled, I'll admit, but because he hustles the hardest, he actually gets the numbers to warrant him some playing time. Versus someone who's very skilled, like back in the day, Andrew Wiggins, who recently is getting his props. Back in the day, he was probably just as skilled, he just didn't work as hard. Now we're seeing that the guy who is actually skilled is working smarter and working hard to actually prove himself, is being successful, and he's getting time just like the other guy, Kevon Looney. I think that is a great idea of a success story of someone who hustles, and I think it does pay off.
Yeah,
On the
but
opposite end, I've seen people who hustle, but they hustle the wrong way, and it's almost counterproductive because they're wasting their time.
well, you're
And
human. You're gonna make mistakes. The whole entire point of being the smart hustler and working smart, as you put it, is by trying to do something, putting in the work, and then saying, okay, I fucked up here. How can I fix this? And adjusting your equation, your formula, to again be smarter, be more on point with what you do. We're all gonna make mistakes. We're human. It's just the way it is. You can't. There's nobody that's perfect in this world, unfortunately, and mistakes will happen. It's just if you're smart enough to adjust your approach and how you're gonna move forward.
so is that going to be the difference between you and the bum friends?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and tell people, hey, I'm the smartest motherfucker in the room, or I'm the hardest working one. I try to work. I try to find avenues that I can, exploit for myself to move myself up, and I do try to, you know, I surround myself with hopefully equal-minded people who are trying to get things done in life. And a lot of my friends, they own businesses. They've successfully been able to buy homes, all this sort of shit. They get things done. And I've had mentors over my life who've lived crazy lives, from being involved in war activities to all sorts of shit, that have taught me a few things. Hopefully, it all pays off someday. That's all I can
So
really hope
what do
for.
you have to show for it now? What steps are you taking to be more like them?
Well, I run a business of my own, which I had no idea what the fuck I was doing when I started with it, but after a couple of years of actually dabbling in it, I think I've got a pretty good foothold. I could have gone into it being like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, just sat on my ass. But no, I went into the business that I run now and got my feet wet, had to deal with people a lot, had to deal with legal representatives like attorneys a lot, and, kind of hit my head a few times before I kind of got to the swing of things. Now that I've gotten pretty good and have been able to get myself on a proper track of, being experienced enough to work smart, as you put it, I've been able to make money off it, and that's where I'm kind of gearing towards expansion on.
Okay.
oh fuck you, dude. Everything you just depicted was just you're all you do is keep people around that you could benefit from, and that's it. That's your criteria for friends, for friendship. You don't see the issue with that?
I agree with you, Danny.
Do you not see the issue with that? You're just using people. You're the parasite.
How am I using people?
You're like whatever it is. I learn from them, or they're also successful businesses, or like it's just an
No,
exchange.
I've learned from mentors, and with people that I have who.
So what about your
You've
friends?
seen.
The
Well,
people
you've
that you're
seen my
keeping
friends.
around, but the people you're keeping around, and if they're not successful in doing something that you're also, I mean, that's it. If they're not like doing something that you can like learn from or grow with, you just fuck them.
No, but even
So
you know some of my mutual friends. Yeah, we have mutual friends. Even if you even ask like Steve, for instance, he and I have friends, people that we know, and some of them unfortunately don't do anything. They just sit on their ass all day. They don't have a job. They
So what?
fuck around, and
So what?
even Steve, let me finish.
Okay.
Even Steve says like, fuck them. They don't want to do anything. Why are you wasting your breath? Why are you hanging out with them? This and that. In some ways, he's right. Yeah, I feel bad, not having them around because maybe I've known them for a few years, but at the same time, when reality does finally start kicking in a bit, it's like, how long is long enough going to be long enough for you to just not do anything with your life? What are you going to just sit there all day and be broke and, come around that everybody has to pay for you? Or essentially, plus keep in mind, like, my friends also started make notion of like, hey, why is this guy here? He doesn't do anything. He's not going to contribute anything. Why do you have him here? Like, why do we have to drag him along with us, type of thing? Which is what people start to do after a while when they feel like there is a leech on you. Whether you guys want to recognize that, it might sound really fucked up, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm just telling you how it is.
Are you going to answer that question though?
Right.
Are you going to answer your own question there? Like, you proposed it, and you didn't even answer.
No, I'm
answer
asking.
Your question,
I'm
answer mine.
I'm asking you guys.
No,
how do
you
you
didn't.
handle?
You're evading my question. Like, what? So what about them being bums? Why are they still your friends? You just brought them to light.
No,
What's the
because
reason
you have years together. You've known each other for a long time. You might have, I don't know. You've hung out for a long time.
Okay, but now they're useless. So what's keeping you from cutting them out?
You feel bad.
So remorse. That's like the only thing that keeps people around.
So let me ask you this, Vlad, before this turns into an attack against you, are you advocating for cutting these people out?
No, I'm asking you guys specifically, what do you think is the right move here? Because I've had people who do advocate to cut them out, and
we get that, but like, what's stopping you from taking these friends, and just like your more successful friends are trying to help elevate you, why aren't you trying to help elevate them?
Oh, I've tried. Trust me, I've tried a lot. You can ask all the guys.
I don't want to ask anyone anything.
Well, like I said,
I just want to.
You can.
I just want to know.
There's a concept that you can try all you fucking want, but if they don't want to fucking do it themselves, nothing's gonna happen.
Right. So
it comes down to people doing it themselves.
Now, what is wrong with you spending less time with them?
I mean, I do spend little time with them, but the problem is,
what's wrong with you spending less time with them?
I do spend less time with them, but even when I bring them around, like for instance, if I bring them around when I'm with other friends, they're kind of like, why? Why do you bring this person here?
So, are you able to distinguish which of your friends can mesh well with the other ones and just keep them in separate piles, or do you feel the need to have everyone together?
I don't see. The thing is, I've had that whole entire crap where you have different circles of friends and all this shit, and it gets really fucking annoying because let's say you have your birthday and you want to have people to come together and you have to mix those circle of friends. It starts to create that conflict zone where people start arguing, or they're just like, why are they here? Or fuck, dude, I don't want to deal with them type of shit. I don't like having to deal with that multiple circle of friends. I'd rather have more or less my group of friends that I'm able to have and spend time with and be around.
So why can't you say fuck you to the people that reject your friends that you hold dear to you?
Because they're still my friends.
This is just a question of loyalty.
They're still my friends.
Right, but if they're the ones that are not allowing you to be friends with these other people...
They're not allowing me. They're just telling me, like, why do you bring them?
Okay, and why can't you just be like, because they're my friend?
I do that already, but again, like I said, I'm telling you I'm trying to get your guys' perspective on this because I'm not just speaking from an aspect of having friends who don't like people. I'm talking about people who I know, who I have in my life, who are successful, who are mentors, who are telling me like, dude, you should really consider the people that you keep in your fucking presence. How they mold you.
Because they're talking about like ultimately growth and success, but there are things you can do. Like there are different values that people bring to the table for you. It's not always about just like getting better at life. Why can't you just like sit down and like relax and have fun? Have a stupid conversation every now and then. Why does it always have to be always turned on?
I mean, I have stupid conversations. You know Steve as well. Me and him have fucking stupid conversations all the fucking time.
Yeah,
but
so there's a value to that friendship is what I'm saying. He's like...
But Steve, with all of his fucking stupidity, half the time, he's still, at least as of recently, he's been going out busting his ass.
So what if he wasn't?
Done with himself.
Do those conversations change between you? The fun you have, the laughter?
Even my own fucking family has been like, what? Don't keep stupid friends in your life. You don't fucking need them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, the issue is like, here, I'm going to advocate for you for just a second because I know what you're talking about. It's like, it's the company you keep. It's another phrase I like to adhere to.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, but it's not everything, dude. Okay, so just give me a second. It's like, you always want to, it's the sprinter example. Like, If you're always running with a bunch of people around you who are just like casual joggers, you're always going to be the winner, and you have there's nothing past that for you. You're like, fuck it, I'm already winning around these people. I don't have any idea what like fast really means. When you start like running with Olympic sprinters, you're like, well, fuck, I got to do something with my life because I am not fast enough. I got to get better. I understand that. But you can't operate, like, what happens off the field then? You know, if I'm sticking with this analogy, what happens to all the people that are like in the stands, some of your family and friends? They're not sprinters. Why keep them around? What's their value to you? That's the issue I'm taking with here. You can try your best to get better at anything in life. Keep the mentors around. Keep the people who are always going to like advocate for you and try to make your life better by being better themselves. You can run with that pack, but you don't like you can associate with other people too, and they can also bring something to your life that isn't
And
just
also-
about growing success. You can stop and
And
smell the roses.
Also anticipate them to leave you behind for something that they're pursuing. Just throwing that out there.
Which is fair. And,
Yeah, because
but-
the friends that aren't really doing much, again, you don't have to push them to do anything if they don't want to, but just make sure they're happy and they're comfortable and they're surviving, if anything. If they're happy and they're surviving, I don't think it's any of your business to do anything about it, but just let them be who they are and you be who you are. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying, and I respectfully agree with you in that regard. As a friend, I do want better for my friends, and I do push them for that very reason to do better. Unfortunately, like I said before, if you're somebody who doesn't want to fucking do something, you won't do it, and that to me sucks. I wish they were a bit more, ambitious. In regards to having the people who are successful can leave you behind. Of course, anybody can leave you behind, but that's the difference between a friend versus some asshole that, only uses you for whatever benefit they have. You got to learn to kind of weave those people out too. Don't have a person who just takes advantage of you. In regard, one of my mentors also said when I was younger, was on your way to success, on your way to the top of the mountain and success, whatever, you're going to meet people along the way as you go up that mountain, as you're climbing. But normally what happens is that once you get to the top, sooner or later you tend to fall back down. And as you're stumbling back down, he told me, always remember you're going to run into the same people that you saw going up that mountain. So he's like, make sure you treat them well. Which is what I've always tried to do. I've tried to always treat people well. I'm just personally trying to discover for myself and just get people's insight on the pushback that I get from those around me regarding the company that I maybe keep. And if taking their word of like, hey, change it up, remove the bad fruit, make the sacrifice, it'll benefit you in the long run, is worthwhile or not. That's why I asked you guys this question. It's nothing about me wanting to be like, hey, people suck, I need to cut them off. I want to see what you guys thought. That's why I brought this up in the first place.
So what was the original question? Can we like go back to that?
The original question was, how do you feel people should handle the
Quote,
bad
unquote.
bad fruit friendships that you have
So
in your
quote
life?
unquote your useless friends, whatever bad.
Yeah, the ones who don't have any sort of drive, don't bring you anything of benefit, are just kind of there because they're cool with hanging out and smoking and talking about some bullshit.
That's a benefit to me. Our definitions change. The problem is that like you're saying, like, what if they don't bring you anything? Like, you can't just have a friend you can chill. I don't smoke. I don't like you smoke and you smoke hookah, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't do that with you, and I don't care. Like, you're free to do what you want, but like to me, it's like that's your. I mean, I wouldn't associate with you if that's like the like.
No, but that which is fine. But you and I share, like, for instance, we can play music together.
So what you're
we can-
saying is there's different values that people have. It's not just about one thing. That's all.
Fine, and I'm
yeah.
saying these people remark on the overall aspect. You can have splitting values. That's fine. You're not a fucking. People aren't clones with the same ideals and likes. People have different likes and things. No friendship is perfect. You'll have certain things that you guys get along on, certain things that you won't get along on. But the things that you do get along on have to outweigh the things that you don't. And preferably, there should be some sort of activity that goes on with what you guys are able to mutually do together and enjoy. And, that's the benefit that they're essentially referring to. You might say it's only business. No, it might not be only business. Maybe it's intellectual conversation. Maybe you can sit there and have a philosophical discussion about something. Versus just saying random bullshit and just talking out of your asses the whole time.
So you're saying that to meet the standard for a friend, like the benefits have to outweigh anything else.
Probably, yeah. That's essentially what people have told me, yeah.
Well,
If you
I
want-
think if the negative outweighs the positive, that's nearing closer to toxics anyway. So
Yeah.
advocate for cutting that out.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
definitely have friends like that. You know, I know there are a lot of like the level of friendships I have with certain people. Some are, you know, some of the people I would take a bullet for. Some people I have trouble shooting or not shooting, I should say. I mean, and it varies. Yeah, but but I still call
Wait,
them
troubleshooting as trying to fix them, or troubleshooting like gun to the head?
I have trouble not shooting, but also. Yeah,
Oh.
I don't.
Gun to the
There
head.
are some people I would like to control alt delete and just fucking remove them from my fucking memory. But it's weird that I still call them friends, and
Yeah, why do you call them friends?
because there are things that I share with them. Like, no, I would not say that their negatives outweigh the positives. There's like, well, fuck, what else do I do here? But there's also like, I don't ever let anything. This goes back to like the parasite issue. I don't let people like that affect what I'm doing with my life. Like I don't feel like I'm being dragged down. If there are people, I'm already at the state in my life where if I feel like someone's dragging me down, I don't associate them with anything professional that I'm doing or any ambition that I have. I don't rely on them in any sort of way, and I don't draw them into what I'm doing. They have no representation in that field, whatever that is. If it's this podcast, right? You guys are here because I trust you and I want to hear your opinions. I wouldn't drag. There's some friends I wouldn't even let them close to my fucking camera setup. I don't want them to ever see the light. I don't want their opinions to be shared on the internet. That's like there's people like that, but you know, they also offer me things like, oh, there's someone who's like they're athletic or something. I'm really into sports and if making my body fit. Right? I mean, if that's good enough to hang around the gym for like an hour or two with that person, and I don't really care for their opinions on like, you know, on podcasts or on.
So
I can still. It's still a friendship based on something.
but is that really a friend?
Yes,
But is that
I
really a
would call
friend
them-
because you work out with them?
Yes, there are
Hey.
there are friends that like you can base an entire friendship off. I'm not saying the level of the friendship changes. Like I said earlier, like there are friends I would take a bullet for and blah blah blah. On that scale, they're still my friends. I do things with them that are part of my values and part of my personality that we agree with. I still call them my friend. They're not useless to me. But
Again,
they're not
since the
doing.
time-
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Omid.
I was gonna say again, since the time of Aristotle, they've defined 3 different types of friends. This is in his teachings. There's the friends that you have a mutual interest with. There's a friend that you have a transactional relationship with, and there's the friends that are, as they say, virtuous, that want what's best for you. So yes, by definition, for centuries, you can have friends like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There are varying degrees of friendship, and I don't, you know, if you don't meet the epitome, the paragon standard, you can't just like. I don't think it's fair to cut people out who meet, you know, your definition of that anyway. But
So Danny, you're
So-
not in favor of cutting people off who are useless.
well, if I had to say this without ever going back down this rabbit hole, then no, I'm not in favor.
Okay.
No.
What about you, Omid?
I'm in favor of cutting out the toxic ones, but not as I would define what you're describing as bums.
Okay.
Because
That's
I
all I
love
wanna
my
ask.
bums.
Yeah,
I'm a bum guy.
I'm sure you like bums.
I do.
I almost guarantee we look like bums to a bunch of people. We wouldn't be. There are a lot of people we wouldn't be friends with, by Vlad's definition.
I mean, that's probably very true, man.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to work yourself
But you
out of
miss
that
out,
hole.
Vlad. There's a lot of good people, man, who are just not driven. They're just neat. They're real cool guys. Real cool people.
I
Guys
think
are
they're
cool.
more fun.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah.
my less driven friends are a lot more fun than the ones that are overly ambitious. I never get to see those ones.
Yeah, you ever have fun, Vlad? Remember what that's like?
Yeah, I have fun.
And now this is the part of the podcast where we start defining fun, and then we go down that rabbit hole. But I think that's plenty for today. Anything else on your mind, Vlad or Omid?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got my answer. I don't know what we kind of really stretched it out, but I got my answer, which was...
So what are you gonna do, Vlad? I want to hear. Let's hear the conclusion, the denouement. What's gonna happen?
Honestly, it's hard. Like I said, you guys are giving me one answer. Another group of friends might give me a different answer. It's kind of a coin
Are
flip
we
at
not
this point.
ambitious enough to sway you?
Yeah, just do me a favor and cut me out, Vlad. I don't want to be your friend, but I don't want to take responsibility.
Danny,
for it
just move the fuck out right now. I don't want to see you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's kind of a coin flip for me at this point.
How is it a fucking coin flip? Then there's nothing that you gained from this. You're in the same position you were as you started.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm asking you because I'm weighing out the answers I get from everybody. I haven't just asked you guys specifically. I've asked other people, and I'm getting different responses from different people, varying. So I'm trying to balance.
Convince us of what has you so against agreeing with us. I want to hear what you have to say that's keeping you in the mindset of maybe I should cut Steve out. I mean, cut people out.
Fucked up. For me, more or less of certain people, cutting them out is. I mean, for me, like I said, the reason why I don't want to cut those people out is because I just feel bad. Empathy wise, like I feel bad having to throw away time. For me, time is very important, and as they say, time is money. You're not gonna get that back. You don't want to waste those years that you spent with these people and just be like, yeah, sorry, you just haven't. This isn't working out, type of thing. I'd feel bad. That's essentially what's keeping me on the edge and kind of keeping me on border with you guys with your answers.
So you're still considering cutting them out?
No, I'm having people say that I should, and I try to balance. I try to weigh.
You said no, but you are advocating for I don't know. That's what you're saying your stance is.
Yes, I don't know, but I'm saying that in regards to your side, the reason why I don't want to cut people out is because I care about them and I'd feel bad. But from a perspective of people telling me logically, like, yo, you don't need these people. Get them the fuck out. Cut the bad fruit off, move on. They're also speaking from a point of logic for the future to be able to do better and be more, up in the game. So it's hard. It's not an easy decision to fucking make.
No, because a lot of times when business requires being heartless, I'm not talking shit, I'm just speaking fact.
Which is true.
Sometimes to be successful, you're going to have to cut out a lot of, in a way, dead weight.
That's why people say keep business and friendship separate.
Yeah, but they also say keep business and friendship separate because if you've ever loaned money to a friend and expected them to pay you back, it's not a happy deal.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. Really consider what the value of these friendships are to you, and move on from there. If you don't care about these friendships, cut them out now. I don't know why you're saying I don't know. Just cut them out. If you actually care about them and you're not cutting them out yet, I think you agree with us in a certain way. You just don't want to say it.
No, I said I agree with you guys within certain aspects. I agree with you.
I don't care about within certain aspects. I want a binary answer, and you're trying to tread in the middle.
So
I'm not treading in the middle.
I'm not treading in the middle. I'm just saying I don't have a clear-cut answer because this is a lot to weigh together and trying to create this direct line of like, yes, this is what's best. I can't do that at this time.
This is more personal.
So yeah, but what I'm saying is philosophically, you're treading in the middle, which is understandable. I think we all can see both sides. I want to know your answer after this podcast. Are you leaning towards cut them out, or are you leaning towards keep them in?
I'm going to be honest, I'm leaning towards cut them out from a logical perspective, simply enough. But I feel bad doing it.
There we go.
Cool.
That sucks.
Yeah. So I don't envy you, friend. Keyword.
I can't do it. I don't have the courage to do that. I mean, I've gone to where I am without cutting many people out, and I would not say I'm not successful, but it is what it is.
Why can't you just leave them on read?
Yeah,
because that's so much better. God damn.
Why don't you just become a piece of shit so they don't want to be your friends anyway?
Hey, happy birthday, Vlad. Red. No answer, no response.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, like if I had $1 for every time that's happened to me, man. People just don't want to be your friends anymore. Bye. Oh man, actually, that reminds me of that one podcast we did. I'll put that right here. But yeah. Sorry, Vlad, you have to deal with that. I really hope you're not talking about us, because it'd be really kind of weird if you asked us for our advice about cutting ourselves out. But yeah, maybe
Danny,
on the
you're
next
getting a pink slip next week. Sorry, but
stamp to.
It's okay.
Are you gonna serve me? Are you Danny? We're no longer friends.
I'll just throw this out there. Steve, I'll be your friend. We can talk about
don't throw out
anime.
Steve.
We can talk about gym. We can talk about whatever, buddy. All right, I'll be your friend.
We'll be here. With our third spot's open for you, right over there where Vlad used to sit. Okay. Cool. So that'll do it for another episode of Does This Offend You? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and tell us about your friends, and tag your friends if you can. And most importantly, please subscribe. Vlad?
For the record, Steve's the one who actually pushes me to cut people off. Just for the record.
Okay. It'd be really funny and ironic if you cut him off.
So we should cut him out because it sounds like he's toxic.
I think that's funny.
I'm your only friend, Vlad. Cut them all out.
You have done this yourself. Oh my god. All right. Next week, we talk about how racist dandelions are. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Just because they're named after you.
Fuck.
Done.